Hello Gemini, welcome to your January 2018 forecast. First and foremost, I'd like to wish you a Happy New Year. I hope that your holiday season was bright and great, and I'm looking forward to really delving into see what the new year has in store for you, but particularly January. We're back to our old format. That means every sign gets its own video, and I like to start each monthly video off with some channeled information. And I do that by selecting a deck of cards for your sign and then meditating. And as I was starting to tune into what kind of energy was coming through for you, I found that back when I used to do weeklies, there was this thing that I call blessings and blocks. I feel like when I tuned into the information of partnerships, and this can be both love partnerships and also professional partnerships, it's going to be a kind of combination of that blessing and block. So some of your best and worst moments this month are going to come in the shape of some of your partnerships. And so what you want to keep in mind when this happens is seeing if there's a challenge that arises at work, for instance, and if it's trying to show you something or teach you something or help you get past a pattern that you've been experiencing with this coworker. So rather than sort of giving into an argument, a disagreement, or taking the energy into a place where, again, it's going to conflict or frustration, think to yourself, why did this come up? And could it be a blessing in disguise? So really focus on partnerships and how you can turn them around and make them more favorable rather than having them work against you. They're coming to the surface so that you can either heal or so that they can reveal an opportunity for you. Let's go ahead and shuffle the cards now and see what additional insights they have to offer about January. If you're brand new to the channel, I'd like to say welcome and just give you a quick heads up on how I organize this. I start off with a Celtic cross, which gives me a nice overview of the month, and then I expand the forecast to include health, wealth, love, and destiny. So let's pause for a second and just see what the cards are going to bring. Don't worry, I'll pull each one of these up to the camera as I'm going through it so you can get a look at them as well. In addition to doing the spread here, I also use something that I call a catalyst. And I see that as a keystone or a connecting thread that also helps kind of bring some organization to what we're looking at here. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that catalyst, and then I will start the reading. Actually, this one comes out here. Okay, so what came through was this very sort of menacing looking panther here, but what I see with this is the first thing that came to mind was speed, and don't let speed take you by surprise this month. So when and if some of these partnership challenges come up, the reason that they might be coming for you is that either say there's a work project, or say there might be something in your family where you're working together to maybe complete a renovation or whatever it is. The person that is working with you is going to expect you either to keep up with them, or maybe one or both of you might be working out of sync. And so you want to synchronize so that we can avoid this card being upside down, which is how it was pulled. So the main thing that I'm getting is to make sure that you're keeping up both the pace of what's being expected of you. So if there's any deadlines or obligations, that you're meeting those obligations, and also just making sure that you're checking to ensure that you're on the same mental page as people that are in your life, like whether again, loved ones or coworkers or just someone that's counting on you. That's really what this card is communicating to me anyway. All right, so now that we have a little bit of clarity on some of the relationship challenges that could be coming through, let's go ahead and see card by card what this month is going to bring for you. So right at the center, it's a very positive card. We have the Three of Cups. Now, it was in the reverse position, and whenever I see Three of Cups in reverse, it's really a warning or an encouragement to not get involved in anything that's gossip related. So, you know, if there is, we used to refer to this as the water cooler conversations. You might want to sort of like pull back, and of course it's always good to just know what's going on, but you don't have to add to these conversations. And if someone is trying to get you involved and says something like, isn't that right? Or what do you think about this? You could just pull back and say, you know, I don't know enough to comment, or I don't feel comfortable. So my general rule of thumb with social media and with conversations and with gossip and with anything that you're going to put out there is just expect that it's going to come back to your mother, your best friend, or the person that you're talking about. So as long as you're not saying something that you regret and you're treating people with respect, you have nothing to worry about. But if you feel uncomfortable, absolutely exit that. On the positive side, this is a good month to network. And when I see the Three of Cups in reverse, it's also a gentle nudge for you to get out of a hermit phase. So if there are some invitations that are coming through, you may be tired because of the holidays, or you're just not feeling like you want to hang out with people, you might be missing out on a really good networking opportunity. So professionally speaking, this could open up new work, or opportunity for advancement, or just a good ally. And as far as dating or relationships, you might meet someone unexpected. So support friends, go to parties, go to activities, and try to be as social as possible this month. Let's look at the next card. So as we look at the center here, it's crossed by the fertility card, or the Empress card, which really does support what I was talking about at the end, that there's some great networking opportunities. Also, for many of you, you might be stepping into a place where you want to take more control over projects, and you could be put in a position of leadership. It could, however, be a leadership position that you are not ready for, or may doubt yourself because that Three of Cups is in reverse. Just know that what's on top of that card, though, is a very powerful one. So don't doubt yourself. Because if you do, then you definitely will have a difficult time commanding the respect of other people, especially if you think of like a teacher. They have to have control of the classroom. It's the same thing going on here. If you don't believe you can do it, then just like kids will walk all over a teacher, the same thing can happen to you, and you don't want that to happen. As I look at deep past here, there are two things that are connecting up. We have a Judgment card in reverse and a King of Pentacles card in reverse. Now, and I'm also seeing a major power card here connecting these two things. So I want you to take a look at your decisions with money. So this is really involving past decisions, and this is about prosperity, and also just how grounded you feel in what you're doing. So if you need to do a little bit more research to understand something before you take a step into a new job or a contract that you're signing or whatever, go ahead and get that, because it feels like you're starting the month needing to acquire some additional knowledge. And the other thing is, you really want to take a close look at your investments and things that you value in your life. This can be your house, a car. It can also be a trust, something that you've been putting money into. Something about that is off a bit, and you need to balance it, or you need to look at the fine print to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. Most important, though, is that you have a say in these decisions. So if someone else in your life is controlling the finances, this is a month where you have to take a look and make sure that you have some sort of a seat at the table, something that I said for another sign, and it definitely holds true for you too. As we look at the crowning card for this month, we have the Ace of Wands in reverse, and two things I'm seeing with this. The first is, how are you feeling this month? With that Three of Cups in reverse, I mentioned a little bit of fatigue. Whenever I see wands in reverse like this, especially in this position, it's speaking to making sure that you're pacing yourself and taking care of yourself properly. And so if energetically you're not feeling like you can manage everything, that's the first thing that you want to deal with, is make sure that from a sleep perspective, from a diet perspective, and overall health perspective, that everything's okay. If it's not, seek out the help you need. The other thing is, this can just be a card of frustration, feeling like you can't make the impact that you want to make. And when I look at what you can do to help sort of shift that, we have Princess of Swords, which is all about speaking up and not doing so in a way that is irritating or too forward. It's just about saying what's on your mind and letting people know. Sometimes that's all that's necessary to kind of get either the respect or the opportunity, or even let people know that there's something that you need. So don't be afraid to say something if you need help, or if you have an idea, bring it to the table, and it looks like it's going to be something beneficial, especially if you do it, again, in a way that's kind of infused with enthusiasm and is more of a proactive sort of thing. When I'm looking at your ego, the main thing you want to focus on is feeling that you're in control, that, like the card says here, you're balanced. And with this, again, I think that you're much more poised to be a better leader this month than you are, and that's why this partnership card came, than to be in a partnership. So that's where the struggle is going to happen, and unfortunately for some of you, you're still going to have to work through that. So realize that partnerships aren't necessarily win versus lose, And also we have this sort of, it can be a bossy card, the Empress. You're going to have to find a way to either concede or to get the other person to see your point of view. And that's where we have this Princess of Swords. So if you are going to try to sway someone, stick to the facts, try not to be emotional, and try to do your homework. And I think that's why this card came through, because it's a lot harder to argue against facts than it is emotions. As we look at your environment card this month, we have Four of Cups in reverse, which is actually positive, because the Four of Cups card is usually showing a state of, for lack of a better word, it can be malaise or feeling like you want a little bit more and you know you should be happy, but you're not feeling super happy about the situation. The reversal means you're starting to see the blessings, you're starting to see the opportunities, and you're not focusing so much on what you haven't done, but what you can do. And that's really what I would encourage you to start doing if you haven't, or to continue doing if you've already started that. It's really good, and it's going to help you overall. So as we look at your hopes and fears, what's really coming through here is to not lose track of what your goals are. We have this Power card in reverse, but it's really showing direction when I'm looking at it. And with it reversed, it's about understanding the point of like your goal, I would say, what the whole purpose of this month is. If you start to get distracted, then you are going to have difficulty not only in leadership, but also in partnership, and also just sort of staying focused. So the main thing you want to focus on this month is knowing what your goals are, being able to clearly communicate those to others, and then if someone isn't on board with you, either finding a way to meet them halfway or getting a way to show them why they need to reconsider their point of view. So there's a lot of leadership, power dynamics, and partnership dynamics that are really coming through this month. Probably not the best month for you to start a new relationship, but I would say this month the energy seems to be much more focused on your personal development, on your performance at work. If you're retired, it's about organizing your life, bringing order to your life, and also purpose to your life. So, you know, it's kind of a natural, I guess, progression after New Year's we've set some new goals. This is a month to really make sure that you're getting behind those. And if there's anything that's pulling you away from this, you really want to shelf that until February, because it feels like you've got a lot going on. As we look at the final card, a slightly muted version of what I was looking at towards the beginning of the month. We have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, which shows me that, again, resources will continue to be something that you feel challenged by this month. So that could be, do you have enough money? Do you have enough time? Do you have enough energy? And I think of all the things I just mentioned, really the most difficult for you is going to be energy, and also that feeling of vitality. And so through meditation, through proper health and fitness and taking care of yourself, this is how you can really overcome that. For those of you that are already in a partnership, these two cards, whenever I get two of the same suit, it really speaks to partnership dynamics. And for that, it's about not letting the other person sort of feel like you're, not leaving the person in the dust, not leaving them behind you. So always making sure that you are looking your partner in the eye, checking in with them, that you're on the same page, the pacing is the same. These sorts of things are going to be really, really important for existing love relationships, friendships, and platonic partnerships. You have to feel like you've got each other's back. And I think if you do that, you'll be able to pretty well navigate anything that is coming your way. All right, let's take a look now at your health card. And the health card, again, maybe we'll feed into that vitality so we can see what you can do to improve that. But there may be another message, so let's just leave it open to the cards as far as what we should be focusing on. But for health, we have alternative medicine. So this is something where you could look to perhaps getting a Reiki treatment, trying some sort of herbal remedies or homeopathic remedies. This should not replace your traditional, health and fitness routine and working with a doctor, but this is a nice complement to it. So, this is something where you could look at different sorts of herbs and supplements to try to enhance and improve your energy without having to use caffeine, without having to use any sort of harsh chemicals. And so I think this is what's going to help you overall retain and regain that vitality that you really might be wanting or needing, especially towards the middle of the month. So don't be afraid to reach out and see if there's some options out there for alternative medicine. The other thing that comes through when I look at that card is just changing your perspective. And so shifting your point of view, looking at alternatives, getting a second opinion even with your existing health and fitness routine could be very beneficial this month. So don't be afraid to talk to another doctor about what you can shift up. Okay, all right, let's give your Wealth Oracle deck a shuffle and see what sort of information is coming through for career, for school, for work, or just for general finances if you're either retired or not working. So the wealth card this month is about how can you free yourself from things. Liberation card is kind of a tricky one. For those of you that might be in a very difficult corporation, the reason this card is reversed is you're feeling a sense perhaps of not having the ability to either control your outcome or speak up or be creative. For others of you, this might be a chance for you to break free and try something new and take a risk. Overall, I like the Liberation card. It's really about checking in with yourself and making sure that what you're doing is still fulfilling you, is still bringing you towards a goal that you want. With your finances, I would say with this card, be very careful. This is a month where you don't want to act too hastily. But what it's saying is if something's tied up in an investment or some sort of a project or even property that you can't really control or access, this card is speaking about what can you do long term to kind of free it up, open it up. All right, let's take a look now at your love card. And love is self-explanatory, but I will say this, it describes not just relationships, but also your view towards yourself, your self-worth, because love starts within. And so what we have this month is faith. Faith may be challenged between you and another person. So this could be testing if you trust someone, testing if you trust yourself. And I think that's really going to be what's pivotal if you have to decide, do I want to remain friends? Do I want to start this relationship with someone? Am I ready to take a risk on myself and be an independent business person? Everything this month is really going to boil down to how much faith and how much trust you have in either yourself or the other partner. So work on these matters. And if you don't have that, that's what has to first be established, is a sense of faith, trust, mutual respect. And again, eventually making sure that you both are on the same page. You don't want to attack each other and you don't want to try to compete. There has to be a sense of tranquility and a sense of equality. The other piece of information that comes through on this card is to really focus on chakra number 3, actually chakras 2 and 3. So focusing on that creative energy, that sexual energy, and also on that sense of power that you would have in the relationship, which makes sense because we got the power card here as well. So realize that it's a simple thing, but it helps to hear it sometimes. People only have power if you give it to them. And really at the end of the day, we're all very similar in what we need, what we want. And trying to find the similarities in a situation and the similarities in a person, even an adversary, is what's going to get you closer to a solution. And so when you give up that feeling that either you have to outperform them or prove them right or wrong, when you just realize what is it that they need, what are their motivations, and then you can first acknowledge, echo that back, and then let them know what yours are and see if there's like this Venn diagram and find where it meets. That's really what this card is speaking to. And that's going to help you across the board, focusing on the similarities and seeing that when you work together, it's going to be much stronger. And when you focus on the fact that you might have more in common than you think, this might be why they are evoking a feeling of either, love or frustration or anger or whatever. The fact that you're provoked or the fact that you're feeling something is actually good. It's showing that you have something that you care about with this person and you can start from that. Passion is not a bad thing. It's just about understanding what the motivating force is for the passion, and then you can work past that. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at your destiny card, which is really your trajectory. And this will help you decide if you like the direction that you're headed in or if you want to make a course correction. Because I'm a big proponent and a big believer in free will. So everything that we're looking at today is really so that you can help prepare yourself and make choices that make you happy in your life and also make you feel empowered. Okay, so this is a card about messages. We have the stork card, and I always see this as a messenger and also a delivery of new things. When we think of the sort of traditional stork carrying a baby, it's something that If you're going to create something new, you have to get to a point where you allow people to come in. This card for me symbolizes that initial, I'm ready to begin this. Are you interested too? It's sort of an inquiry, if you will, for those of you that are creative and have sent out sort of letters of inquiry or portfolios. This is what I'm getting from this, is that you're going to have to let people in on your idea. And that message is what's going to bring the fertility. That's really what's at your fingertips this month, but you have to be clear on it. You have to announce it in a way that get people excited, and you have to get past egos. All right, so let's go ahead now and wrap everything up and summarize what we've talked about. All right, let's start off with the channeled information again, which was to focus on partnerships. And as we looked at the catalyst, it was not to leave someone behind, to make sure that you're on the same page, to make sure that you don't take it to a place of competition, or that you don't scare off an ally and treat them like an adversary. You might have an unexpected friend if you can just find, we were talking at the end there about that Venn diagram, go to the places where you have similarities, and this is where you're going to be able to resolve a lot of issues. One of the challenges for a lot of partnerships, as we look at the two of the same suit here, the King and the Queen of Pentacles, could be over money, could be over decision making, sort of like who gets the final say. And so that's something where you're going to have to try to strike a balance, and that's actually what we see here in the ego. And we also see the fears about giving up power. So the most important cards here are about balancing out the power dynamics, making sure that you feel like you have a stake and so does your partner, not leaving them behind. And again, I want to remind folks that aren't in a love relationship, partner can be business partner, best friend, sister, brother, etc. So I'm just sensing that overall, whoever your partner dynamic is going to be this month, you really want to focus on making them feel like they're heard and that they have an equal stake. Now, when you're looking at your own energy and vitality, that's something you're going to have to work on managing. We looked at your health card, and alternative medicine is something that might help you this month, or just getting a second opinion as well. Don't be afraid to speak up. Do so in a way that is based really on facts rather than emotions. Continue what looks like a good move away from feeling frustrated, starting to see the opportunities rather than the limitations. And as we look at the rest of the expanded forecast, we just talked about the health, the alternative solutions or medicine. When we look at your wealth card, try to find ways to keep your money accessible. The liberation card in reverse is saying make sure that you feel like you can get at what you need, that you have more freedom with how you not only make your money, but invest your money. And for some of you, this can also be speaking about, hey, you're ready to start a new job. And that's really what the fertility card is saying. And also when we look at your destiny, the stork card, because these for me read as double fertility. But this is more of an announcement of a decision that you're ready to do it. And I feel like some of you with judgment in reverse may have decided to put things on the back burner in the past. This is a second chance for you to try something new, or to be a little bit bold in your decision-making ability with your future, with, like, again, a new business or a different way to make money. And that might be part of this too, is just to sort of think outside of your traditional box of how you can be a wage earner, etc. It doesn't have to be the same job that you've always had. Finally, I want you to really focus on the core, that third chakra, also the second chakra, where our creative energy comes from, but also where the sexual energy is. So there might be a need for you to clear, meditate, and release in that area. And if that's the case, you can, but I'm really sensing a lot more with the third chakra, which is right around the belly button. So that comes from relationships with your mother, from power dynamics between loved ones, partners, friends, and I think that's where you're going to find the most opportunity for healing and release this month. I think we covered everything, so I hope you got what you needed this month to feel empowered and ready and hopefully excited about the new year. I know I am, and I can't wait to take this journey with you to see what 2018 has in store for all of us. So, by the way, if you ever want to do a one-on-one appointment with me and would just like a more personalized approach, I do offer those on my website. So feel free to take a look. I'll have links below so that you can do that. Also, if you'd like to give back, that would be great, because this is a viewer-supported channel and there's a lot of ways to do so. I'll make sure to include a link below as well. You can either do a donation through my website or through Patreon, whatever works for you. I'd love for you to stay in touch as well. So if you're on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or you just like to be a part of my newsletter as well, feel free to join in on any or all of those. And finally, I like to end every reading with a little bit of gratitude, and I really do from the bottom of my heart appreciate the work that everybody's been doing not just with this reading this month, but I've been doing this for almost 4 years, and a lot of you have been with me as I've been doing that. So I feel really blessed that I've been able to have some sort of a role in opening up your minds, opening up your hearts, and I'm so proud of the work you've been doing on yourselves as well. Keep it up, and I wish you a lot of prosperity, happiness, and joy as we enter a new year with new possibilities. Let's make this a nice, clean slate, and I can't wait to see what it brings. Take care of yourselves. Thank you. Bye.